Today, we will talk about XLM, XRP, Velo, and SHX because of all of their ties into the PayPal Mafia, which I have talked about for over a year now, because it appears as if utility is about to end up in a forever bull run. And that is because the exact same people who are in charge of these crypto companies are becoming directly connected into the US government and White House. The PayPal Mafia is running the Trump administration, which is pretty ironic because Ripple is just now ending up in the public spotlight because of their time on 60 Minutes, which didn't really result in a whole lot. It was a total hit piece and it was a bust. However, one of the important things is that they specifically talked about Fairshake. And Ripple and Stronghold are two of the crypto companies that are not only directly related to the PayPal Mafia, but who are involved in Fairshake as well.
Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says the SEC's approach was the main reason his company and two others created the biggest industry super PAC called Fairshake.
People are like, why did these companies come together and organize and say, this matters? And it's a reaction to a war on crypto.
So if there had been a different SEC chair than Gary Gensler,
I'm not sure Fairshake would exist.
People out of the PayPal Mafia are ending up in extremely high positions in the government, which kind of implies that it might have ended up as some kind of a plan for a long time. Stellar has been heavily intertwined in the government, and specifically with the CFTC for a few years now.
Stellar's transforming global payments. So let's get into this. Rather than getting into the description of how it's done, let's talk about the effect. What are the benefits of blockchain technology? Not just your network, but the underlying technology. What are the most promising innovations? What are the benefits?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, Mr. Chairman. The most important piece here is that we forget that the global majority doesn't have access to the traditional banking infrastructure that we here in the United States. And when you think about the fact that we would that the highest demand is the U.S. dollar. They want to be able to leverage the U.S. dollar, at least to be able to receive money from diaspora, from the U.S. and from elsewhere. They want to be able to leverage that in a way that's cheap, efficient, and secure. That is what blockchain technology does for them.
It is all about maintaining the strength of the USD, which will probably be reliant upon stablecoins that are accepted across the world, such as USDC. Probably the most important thing right now as it ties into the PayPal Mafia and into XLM, XRP, SHX, and even Velo is that Trump appointed David Sachs as the AI and crypto czar, and personally commented on that here. David is right out of the PayPal Mafia and was handpicked because of Elon, who is one of the two who created the quote-unquote PayPal Mafia to begin with. He was the first COO at PayPal and went on to become heavily involved as an investor in the tech industry. There are also ties in between him and the PayPal Mafia overall into Palantir. And the CEO has had some contradictory statements in public, which I would not expect anything otherwise. But his comments on auditing Ukraine seem to be a little bit contradictory because Stellar and Circle have been so involved there. I have an idea that auditing Ukraine might actually lead to the complete adoption of Stellar to run that financial infrastructure even more than it is at the moment. I don't have anything to support that, but it is something I've been speculating on. Palantir is extremely tied into the US defense industry too, and it all goes right back into Stellar and Stronghold. The Stronghold ties are especially heavy because Craft Ventures has been working with Stronghold. Aduro Advisors is directly called out on the Stronghold white paper, which is directly tied into Craft Ventures too. Keith Rabois, I'm not sure how to pronounce it honestly, is a partner at the Founders Fund who also comes out of the PayPal Mafia and is involved with Palantir, who just so happens to be an advisor to Stellar and is closely connected to David Sachs, shown here. Here is David commenting on the Ripple and SEC case.
Tweet, Ripple sales of XRP do not constitute offer of investment contracts, according to Judge. They won. This is a huge vindication for them. And that XRP is ripping 35%.
Yeah, and it really handcuffs the SEC.
I have specifically covered the ties in between Stronghold and David Sachs in the past, and at the end of this video, I will include all of that information. A lot of this is just happening at a really coincidental pace, and it's happening at a really coincidental time. You have a new SEC chairman chosen by Trump. Bitcoin recently hit 100K. Stellar has once again spoken in Congress. There is a lot of hype on RLUSD being imminent, and Stronghold recently had an AMA with a couple of coincidental points as well. Stronghold was talking about possible exchange listings in 2025 for SHX and commented how it will probably have a lot more availability in 2025. I would personally think that Coinbase and Uphold are two of the potential exchanges. One of the other huge points is that Stronghold will begin to escrow SHX beginning in Q1 of 2025. Which is exactly how Ripple handles XRP. And because Ripple is a huge investor in Stronghold, and because Stronghold's CTO worked at Ripple, it is just another extremely coincidental tie here. They also talked about Soraban, DeFi, an updated white paper, and the March of 2025 ISO 222 compliance start date for Headwire here in the US. Here are some comments of theirs regarding escrow.
One of the big things we have been working on recently is to escrow the majority of Stronghold's SHX holdings and do that using Stellar's Soraban smart contracts in a way that is provable to anyone. So where we'll be able to lock up a proportion of our tokens. We will do that on a ladder basis where we have, tokens locked up for X period of time, and then on a regular schedule, those are, becoming unlocked and relocking depending on our needs at the time. So it's very similar to what you see folks like Ripple doing. We're essentially going to emulate the same sort of laddered escrow that they're doing.
One of the other extremely coincidental comments and events is how Jerome Powell recently stated that Bitcoin is not competing with the USD. It is competing with gold, which is a huge change in what that end of the government's stance is. And it's a really good indication that the public will begin to think of Bitcoin and crypto overall in a much more optimistic perception. One of the other interesting administration picks has ties into PayPal Mafia as well. Jared Isaacman has been chosen as administrator of NASA, which tie into his relationship with Elon and SpaceX and Starlink. And Jared has also worked with Jed and Caleb of Stellar. Jared currently owns Shift4, which is a huge payments processor, which could be an indication that Shift4 could be integrated with Stellar and the upcoming payments application in X. As we begin to talk about Velo a bit, there are some extremely interesting connections and statements here. This guy right here has recently publicly come back on to X, and it happens at the exact same time that Velo has been posting about Ripple, XRP, and the XRPL. Stellar speaking to Congress again, David Sachs being picked up in the government, and the increased amount of public exposure with Ripple with its 60 minutes spotlight. Jed McCaleb has also recently come back to X and is extremely tied into Velo, not only as an advisor, but with Lightnet too, which is also a coincidence because the Laos Digital Gold project just started, which makes Beam coming to X at this specific time a lot more interesting. Here I will talk a little bit on the topic of Stellar speaking in Congress again, and a couple of interesting Easter eggs as a result of that. There was a chair or some kind of a bag that appears to have been positioned in a way to represent Stellar's logo, although that's probably reaching a little bit. And it's also a little bit more coincidental that he had a heart pendant on, which is interesting because some of the Bearable Guy stuff has an image of a heart in there, specifically the one that has the 3 mountains on it. And a heart is also close to the Velo symbol as well, which is shown here. The incoming president and Stellar were tagged in the same post by a U.S. congressman, which is not a coincidence, and I think that it implies a lot of behind closed doors kind of connections. And it appears as if the Stablecoin Act will be in 2025.
Ms. Dixon, considerable work has been done to create a dollar-backed stablecoin, something that I'm very passionate about. I think it's time for this to happen. It's my hope that a payment stablecoin bill will pass through both chambers of commerce and will be signed into law by the president. What does this mean for the future of stablecoins, and what opportunities will this unlock for the average American consumer and small business if we get the stablecoin legislation done?
Thank you so much, Congressman. I always thought that this stablecoin legislation was the low-hanging fruit, and apparently hasn't come out to be that, because we haven't been able to, with all the work that you've done, still haven't been able to get it through. I think that stablecoin legislation provides unique opportunity to be able to not only set the United States up as a leader, because we will be the first one who have come out and purposely set the direction, and also have 99% of the stablecoins in the world are US-backed stablecoins. So we'll be stronger from that standpoint too.
I will cover this topic a lot more at a different time, but there are also a lot of ties in between the incoming SEC chairman, Securitize, XRP, XLM, SHX, and Velo. Here is one example on how he and Ripple are both extremely connected into Securitize. Here is my old video that explains how David Sachs is tied into Stronghold. So who are they? They are focused fund admins. They've got 525 clients, including some of the largest VC firms in Silicon Valley, which include Craft Ventures, who are involved with SpaceX, Twitter, Uber, and Facebook. And it's interesting that SpaceX and Twitter are linked back to the PayPal Mafia as well, which have some direct connections with SHX, which also have direct connections with XRP and XLM. So let's see if I can find the right spot. Yeah, they've got 120 billion in assets under management and 4,500 investment entities. So who are associated with both Duro and I'll say SHX from here on out? So we have lowercase capital, and Clay is the partner and former chief of, well, he is the former chief of that White House Obama admin. And then Chris, he's the founder. He was on Shark Tank and the co-chair of National Finance and Tech for Obama and former head of special initiatives at Google as well. And then we have who they're involved with. So there's Hodinky, not really sure how to pronounce that. Kicks, can't say STs, so I'm just going to move on. Medium and another ST that everyone on here should know. They were involved with Twitter, Uber, Instagram, Happy Returns, which was sold off to Microsoft, and Gimlet, which was sold to Spotify. So the next one is A Capital. Now they consist of Ronnie, who was the founder and early Google Ventures employee, and former partner at Andreessen Horowitz, which they are heavily involved in the whole XRP drama around ETHgate and a few other more political ties as well. Previous investments include Airbnb and Instagram. I'm not even going to try that name, but they were a former partner at Andreessen Horowitz as well. So you've got their advisors, which is Ben of Andreessen Horowitz, who had 80 million invested in Twitter in 2011, and Paul, who is involved with Dropbox, Airbnb, and that ST word. I just need to begin to avoid all STs. Then we got Craft Ventures up next. So in short, their investments include SpaceX, Airbnb, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and more. The founder, David, joined Confinity. Heard of it? Yes, you have. It became PayPal. So that's called out there. And I'm going to see if I can't pull that up on this one, actually. Yep. That one is right there, pretty much at the beginning of this PayPal line here, which also ties into the original X.com. So I was, got a little disoriented. Okay, so First Round Ventures is up next. You've got people who were involved with GoDaddy.com, a former VP of Twitter, head of growth at ST, and a former VP of global display sales at Google as well.